welcome to my art studio. I'm Jordan, and today I want to show you a really easy and fun creative exercise that you can do to start getting some creative ideas going, or just if you need something to do. A lot of times I am in a creative mood, but I don't know what I want to make. I just know I want to make something, and this is perfect for times like that. So I'm going to show you how to make these little art books. You make them on one sheet of paper and then fold it up into this cute little book. And it's so much fun. You can make one of these in less than an hour. And I love these because they just spark so many new ideas for me. So you start with one big piece of paper and you paint all over it, draw whatever you want to do, and then you fold it up and you get all these mini compositions that come out of that bigger painting. So it's always a surprise what the book will turn out to be, and it's super fun. So I'm going to show you how to make one of these. But first, I am going to show you my little collection of books that I've already made so far. Like I said, I do this all the time if I just need something to warm up before I jump into a bigger project, or if I just want to do something fun and easy. So let me show you some of these books that I've made. This is one of my favorite little books that I've made. It's full of flower paintings. I love painting flowers. It's my go-to if I don't know what to paint, so you'll probably see lots more flowers in here. But this little booklet was made on pretty thick paper, so you can see it doesn't really close that well, but I don't mind. So here's this one. Another one, this one's laying flat currently, but here it is. More florals. I also did a border on this paper, which kind of ended up looking cool when it was folded together. I like that everything becomes really abstract when you fold this booklet up, and some things you can't even tell what they are anymore. So like on here, I don't know if you can tell, but this is the head of a bird, and here's the rest of the body. But that got folded up, and I love that you can barely tell what it is anymore. Here's a slightly bigger one. Some of the pages might be stuck together. This was one that I just did really loose and fast, so it's kind of messy, but I still like it nonetheless. This one is slightly different. This isn't what we're going to be doing today in this video, but this is an accordion folded little booklet. So both sides have a painting, and you can look at it in a couple different ways. You could flip through it like a traditional book, either side, or open it up, or even like fold certain parts of it and make new images. I don't know, that's kind of cool. So that's another easy booklet idea, but we are going to be doing this style today. This is a more abstract one that I did, just playing with color. Another one. I like to be messy with these and not worry too much about painting anything particularly beautiful. I just kind of put paint on paper and see what happens. I like to do these because it's something that's not a lot of pressure, and I don't really care what the end result is. It's really just to get me started. And then the last one here, this I did on a giant piece of paper. So yeah, these are all the books that I've made so far, and I'm going to show you how to make your own. So of course you'll need a piece of paper, and it really doesn't matter what kind of paper you use. It doesn't need to be really nice. You can do this on anything, even a piece of computer paper, 8.5 by 11, this will work. So you'll need paper, and then you'll need your paints or whatever you want to draw with. So I have all of my paints over here next to me, my acrylic paint. All the paints are here on this tray. I've been storing my paint recently like this, my acrylic paint, and it's been so handy because it's so easy to get started and also to clean up because it's in these little cups. So that's been really handy. And then I have a cup of water and all of my paintbrushes. So we are going to start by folding the piece of paper, and then we'll paint on it. It'll just be easier to have everything folded and creased before adding the paint. So I will be using this bone folder to crease my paper. It gives a really nice sharp creases, but this isn't necessary, so don't worry about it if you don't have one. But like I said, you can do this on any size paper. It does not matter. So what we're going to start doing, first fold this in half. And I like to fold my creases both ways just to make sure it's a good crease. Okay, then we're going to fold it in half the other way. And finally, we're going to fold these two sides into this middle line. Okay, you should be left with this piece of paper that has 8 sections. And now the last step is to cut this middle line right here. You can use scissors or whatever you have on hand. I'm going to be using a box cutter, a ruler, and here's my cutting mat. So I'm just going to slide this underneath. And I'm going to use my ruler just to keep the line straight. And you're only going to cut these 2 sections. So don't cut it all the way across. So now you should have an opening in the center of the paper, and that's how we're going to fold this together. It will fold like this, squeeze that together, and then you have this little booklet. But we are going to keep this open and pretend that it's not cut and just paint on it like one big piece of paper. You can go ahead and fold it up if you want and like actually make a little booklet, but in my mind, the purpose of this exercise is to do one big painting and then you fold it up and you're surprised by all the little compositions that arise out of the larger painting. So it's more fun that way for me at least than to go ahead and fold it up and paint each individual page. I'm going to start by grabbing a little bit bigger of a paintbrush. I'm going to use this one. I've really been enjoying these paintbrushes. These are like the super cheap paintbrushes you can get at any art store. They have these really rough bristles, but I've actually been loving them because you can't be precise with these, and they also add a lot of fun texture because the bristles kind of like splay out like that. So I've been loving these because they keep me loose and they're great for just getting paint down on paper, as opposed to a brush like this with really nice clean bristles. This one is much different, but I've been loving it. So I am going to start with this one. I'm going to get my paintbrush wet, and I'm going to just pick a color and start putting some paint down and not really worry too much about what it's going to look like quite yet. I'm just going to focus on covering all this white. Actually, I think I need a bigger brush than this. Let's go for this really big guy. I like mixing water in with my acrylic paint to make it a little bit runnier. So you'll see me do that quite a bit. But literally at this stage, just put paint on paper. Don't worry about making anything really beautiful. Actually, for this whole project, don't get too caught up in really like the details of what this looks like. It's supposed to just be fun and just make marks and enjoy the process of playing with paint. Okay, so I've covered the whole paper in paint. No rhyme or reason really, just trying to cover all of the white. And now I'm gonna go in and just paint whatever little things I want to, probably flowers because I love painting flowers. So let's start with that because it's easy. I've grabbed this light pink color and I'm just gonna randomly start right here and just paint some sort of little flower. I really like working on a wet piece of paper that's already been pretty saturated with paint. So that's what I'm doing here. So I've added in these two white flowers. Maybe we'll add some red to the center. I'm just trying to do this really fast and not worry too much about the outcome. And then let's do the stem. Maybe some green. I don't really love that black. I have no idea what kind of flowers these are. I just kind of painted a blob shape and then did a lot of different colors for the leaves and stem, but I kind of like that. I'll probably just keep going with this floral theme because that's what I like to do. Let's see. So I've added in some more flowers here. Let's add some stars because that's another thing that I always love to paint. Maybe we'll do some light blue, maybe a shooting star. How about right here? So if you're wondering why I painted the background first, it's for multiple reasons. First of all, I just have to get rid of the white. I feel like it's easier for me to get going if I just cover up that white and then I work around whatever I've put down. I also like when the paint kind of mixes in with whatever I am painting on top, like the colors change, I like that. And then I also don't have to fill in the entire background when I'm done, so it's nice. All right, there's some sort of star, I don't know. I'm gonna switch to this paintbrush. Okay, now that I have this flower here, I feel like I'm kind of seeing a little garden scene start to arise. I think this is going to be the ground. I'm going to add a stem and leaves to these flowers to anchor them to the ground. And then I have the star. This will be the sky. So I'm going to start filling out the scene. Let's start with, how do I want to do this? I'm not going to think too much about it. Okay, now that I've added in the stem and leaves here, I feel like I want a vine of leaves and maybe flowers somewhere over here. Okay, I like how that is looking. I feel like I need to start blocking in the background so I can figure out where this is going to go. So I'm going to switch back to this paintbrush. And let's see, what do I want to do for the background? I'm trying to decide how I want to do the background. I could do it all one color. I could do the sky one color, do the ground another color. I have this old cup of paint that I mixed a while ago, and I think I'm going to do the background in pink. I don't want this to look too much like a realistic landscape. I do want it to be a little bit more abstract. So let's do pink. I love pink, and we'll just see what happens. If I hate it, then I can paint back over it. That's something that I try to remind myself of all the time when I am making art is there are no wrong decisions. Everything can be fixed. So if you do something that you don't like, if you put down a color that turns out hideous, then you just paint over it and go from there. So everything is fixable. Everything is figure outable. There's no point in overthinking. I'm just going to start. I like that this isn't dry yet, so as I'm adding in this background, it's mixing with all the other colors that are still on the paper, and I like to see what happens. Lately, I have really been loving to paint in this kind of loose and messy style, not precise whatsoever. I feel like I've been trying to enjoy the process more than the outcome. So most of the work I've been making recently has zero planning ahead of time, and I just kind of start putting paint on paper and see where it takes me. That has been really fun and really fulfilling, and I feel like I have just been learning so much about acrylics and how to use them by painting in this way, just like releasing all the need to make anything really precise and beautiful. But things still turn out beautiful, even if you're not planning and even if you're not making something so detailed and precise. I love just like messy paint being mixed together. I love seeing the brush strokes. I love seeing the colors meld together and the textures and everything. I have just been fascinated by it. So that has been my thing recently, which is pretty different for me because I feel like I used to be so detailed and precise with my work. If you feel stagnant or just some sort of creative block, this is a great exercise to do because I know a lot of times when I feel a creative block, it is because I am too caught up in the details and too caught up in making something perfect and feeling like I don't have the ability to make it perfect, so then I just don't do anything at all, and then I don't know what to do, and I'm just stuck, and it's not a fun place to be. So if you're feeling like that, get out a piece of paper and just start slapping paint down. Like, for real, that is the best way to overcome a creative block is just like start throwing materials at a piece of paper and tell yourself that you're going to make something ugly so that you're not disappointed in the end. But I don't know, I just feel like a lot of times my creative block is just because I'm in the wrong mindset about making art, which is why recently I've really just been trying to focus on enjoying the process and not getting too caught up in minute details. I'm a big believer in the idea that you have to make bad art, you have to be bad at it before you can ever be good. And I know that's really difficult because I am someone who likes to be good at everything the first time I try it, and that is just completely unrealistic. But sometimes it's really hard to get over that. So that's why I do things like this. So that has been the journey that I've been on recently, which is to just make a lot of bad art. And I've surprised myself by actually making things that I've really loved. And it's only because I allowed myself the freedom to play and experiment and make mistakes. So I am going to just fill in the background. I feel like there's too much blank space, and I'm just going to draw a bunch of stars. Okay, I think I'm going to call this done. I could work on it some more and try to perfect it, but that's not the point of this exercise. So I'm just going to let it go, leave it as is, and I'm going to let this dry, and then we'll come back and fold it together. Here's my finished painting. It should be mostly dry now. And I decided that I wanted to do one more thing. I'm gonna add some dry media. So I brought out my colored pencils and my Neocolor 2s. These are water-soluble wax pastels, which are super fun to layer on top of paint. So I'm gonna add just a little bit more texture and detail with these. I've really been enjoying layering other materials on top of acrylic paint. I feel like you can add a lot of really nice detail with colored pencil especially, but these Neocolor 2s have been really fun too because these go on really opaque, and you can add water if you want. You don't have to, but I just think they look really nice on top, so I'll show you what that looks like. Also, if I don't like the color of anything, then I can just go over it with a pencil or the wax pastel and change it. This specific colored pencil has come in handy so much because it draws really well on top of darker colors and it shows up really well. It's the Caran d'Ache Luminance Pink White 581. I use this all the time. I'm considering covering the pink with one of these Neocolor 2s because the pink will still show through a little bit, but it might make a cool effect. I don't know, let's try it. I finished covering all of the pink with this Neocolor 2. I used the color beige, and I love how this turned out. I think it toned down the pink perfectly, and I am really happy with it. I added a little bit of detail with some colored pencil. Actually, I'm gonna do a little bit more right here. I think I just wanna clean up some of these flower petals. So I'm kind of adding a light and loose outline to everything just to make it stand out a little bit more. I'm using just a black colored pencil, but I like how it's turning out. It just makes everything pop a little bit more. And I like the look of kind of the sketchy lines on top of the paint. Okay, I think I am finally finished. I am going to first crease everything again just to make sure it will fold together nicely. And then to fold this together, it's super easy. So you can leave this booklet as is and call it done. I like to glue the pages together just so this looks a little bit cleaner. Here's an old one just to show you what I mean. I glued together the pages so it can no longer be unfolded into the big painting, which if you want to be able to unfold it, then don't glue it. But I am going to be keeping it as a book, and I like the neat and tidy edges. So I'm going to grab some glue. I have this PVA glue here, and I am just going to spread this on the back of the paper. Once you have the glue spread out, then just fold it back together. Make sure all the pages are aligned. Here is the finished book. You can flip through it and then see all the smaller compositions that came from that larger painting. I really love these two pages. I think this is really cool, kind of abstract since it's turned upside down and it's kind of harder to tell what everything is. I love how this page turned out. And there's the back. So I think I'm going to leave this under a heavy book overnight to press it really nice and flat, and then it'll be good to go. That's it for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed following along as I made this little art book, and I hope that you try this idea out. I would love to see how yours turns out if you make one. You can post it on Instagram and tag me so that I can see what you made. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.